Hello, everybody. We are into our fourth hour, and I just wanted to introduce Donald Toms, our honoree from last year. Donald, thank you so much for being here today. On your birthday, for crying out loud.
Guess what?
Yes. Wait. So I have also cupcakes from Cara Cupcakes for change, and so she was able to get us a whole packet of these. And you got your birthday, yes. So you're gonna.
I decided that I put the candle in there, and I thought it's the only birthday cake I've got today. So thank you guys for saying it, and I'm gonna do this. All right.
Awesome. So you got it. That's so. Cara, thank you for making that happen.
And thank you for sending this.
Of course. Happy birthday, just for you to join us. I'm going to put these down for a second. Okay, hold on.
They look amazing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take out the cake because I want some of this. So happy birthday. Thank you for being here. I know that we're preparing to set up the video. So once they ping me and say that the video is ready, we're still going to just kind of chat up a little bit.
Yeah.
Please, again.
So, Chil, you're in hour 4. You have 26 hours to go.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder, Donald.
I'm wondering, so will you be changing clothes? Will you be doing a Diana Ross where you're changing or?
Could you imagine if I did an actual costume change in the middle? I think the idea is it's very bright here for all of a sudden. The idea is that we are doing, that it looks consistent so that people believe that I've been here the entire time.
Yeah.
But I'll change because after 24 hours in the same shirt,
Yep.
Well, because you've done these kind of marathons, right?
I've done yes. I mean, clearly I have. When I do pledge drives for MPT, we can be on for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. But I did do a pledge drive down in Florida 2 years ago. We pitched the Henry Louis Gates reconstruction, and we were in the studio from 7:30 until 11 that night. And so we did those.
Oh, okay.
That's
still the wee hours, right?
Yeah. But these were being taped. So live, I think I've done live maybe 6 hours. But
cool.
I've never done 30, and I can't wait to pop in and see how you're faring.
I think that's everybody. Everybody just wants to check out around the last 2 hours to see if I'm even alive.
That's right. And what happens when you have to go to the bathroom?
Well, we have segments, and I can kind of, the bathroom's right there. Okay. So I'm in the theater, so we're pretty close. But yeah, I mean, the people are protecting me, and it's all good, Donald. It's all good. I think we're so. Are we still waiting for the video to go? Do we have the video ready? Awesome. So, Donald, I know you want to do an intro for Ben Dejesus for us.
Yeah. So when I was at PBS 5.5, 6 years ago, I greenlit a program by a very young filmmaker, and it was his first PBS documentary, and it was about the making of Tales of a Ghetto Clown, which aired on Broadway. And John Leguizamo is the host and the producer and the creator. And I saw this documentary and knew I had to have it for PBS. And so I greenlit it. I gave it some money, and it aired. And since then, I have worked on many of Ben's films, on another John Leguizamo, one on Raul Julia, and that aired on American Masters last year. So Ben's a really good friend of mine. He's an amazing filmmaker, and I'm glad that he joined us. So here you go.
Yes. So thank you for doing that. So let's roll video. And again, please text adventure to 56651. That's adventure to 56651. Go ahead and go to the video, please. Adventure to 56651. Don't take us out until the video fully rolls.
Hey everybody, I'm Donald Toms. I'm here
Thank
with
you.
Ben Dejesus, filmmaker and good friend. Ben, welcome.
Thank you, Donald. Thanks for having me.
You know, this is Adventure Theater's 30-hour stream-a-thon. And all during these 30 hours, we're talking to a lot of great people about theater and about art. And Adventure Theater, of course, is a theater for kids. And you know, and we want to give them the knowledge that we have and share with them some of the things we've done, and hopefully to inspire them to go beyond what they normally would. You know, we talk about mentorship a lot. You and I have known each other now for about 6, 7, 8 years. And the first time I heard your name, I saw your film, I saw your name attached to a film on John Leguizamo's Tales of a Ghetto Clown. I was at PBS, I was head of the arts, and I needed films for a film festival. And I saw your film and I just fell in love with it. Tell me a little bit about that film. Tell me about your relationship with John Leguizamo. And let's just start there.
Good. Well, first of all, you mentioned mentorship and how important that is. And I got to start off by saying you've been an amazing mentor to me.
Thank you, bud.
Over the last few years. I'd say we've known each other since 2012. So we're going on 9 years.
Wow.
And I always call you my documentary godfather. So it's very important to have mentors like you. So thank you for what you've done for me. So in terms of my first film that I did with John Leguizamo, I grew up as a theater baby. So I was totally into Broadway and all things theater. So I really grew up idolizing John. And lo and behold, some years later, I got called to shoot some viral YouTube videos with him in his house. And we had a really good connection right away. We had chemistry. We got along really nicely. So I asked him at that point, I said, hey, let me get your cell number. Let's keep in touch. So a couple days later, I found out that he was doing his first one-man show in over 10 years. And I said, hey, John, you mind if I come with a little camera to shoot a little behind the scenes? That next rehearsal, I showed up and I said, oh boy, there's a documentary here.
Wow.
So the next day I wrote a treatment. I came back to him and I said, can I make this film? And they just said, sure. And so basically I just never stopped showing up.
That's amazing. And for those who don't know, the Tales of a Ghetto Clown aired on PBS. And the cool thing about it is that I saw a rough cut. And one night I was at home and you got the rough cut. And I thought, well, it's just an hour show. And I know that the rough cuts will probably be like an hour and 5 minutes. Well, the rough cut was like an hour and 50 minutes. And I looked and I said, oh my God. And I was drinking some wine. And I sat down though and just watched it and knew that the film was there. And that's the cool part about it. It's almost like a sculpture, is that it's in there. And what it means is just cutting it down and moving all the pieces. And I must have seen 8 or 9 cuts of that film until it became, just perfect. And you and John, have had this great relationship, but you also do great things. What I love about you is that you tell Latin stories. And I mean, I know why you tell them, but why do you tell Latin stories?
Well, I mean, you're going from a place of what you know, like your own story. So for me, that's where I come from. I'm Latino, I'm new generation. I grew up bilingual. I grew up living in both worlds, and I'm Puerto Rican. So I have a real affinity to my culture, but I'm also American 100%. So telling those kinds of stories when there's such a lack of them out there, I've kind of taken on as my personal mission. So it's not like necessarily like I'm telling Latin stories for Latin people. I'm just highlighting and celebrating Latino stories for all kinds of audiences. And that's really been like, as I've grown as a filmmaker and as a storyteller, I've really honed in on that. And that's really become one of my missions.
Yeah, and before we go on, I just want to remind folks, this is a fundraiser for Adventure Theater. And so there's some information on the screens. We can go in and donate because young kids need our support as much as possible. Adventure Theater's in the area where I live, and it's really important. They do such amazing work. So please come on and donate with us. So Ben, you were an actor, and it's so funny is that I knew you first as a filmmaker, and then I realized that you actually acted with my daughter Tracie Thoms' friend Ryan Duncan. How did you guys? So tell me a little about your acting career.
Sure. Well, like I was saying, I was a theater baby. Like I saw Les Miserables when I was about 14 years old in the last row. That was the first Broadway show I had seen, and it really changed my life.
Of
So I
course
said,
it did.
wow, I want to be in this industry. I don't even know how or what or how to get into it, but I just felt like this is where I belong. So I started working as a professional theater actor. I was studying at Rutgers University, and I went down to Washington D.C. to perform on the Spirit of D.C. at the time. So
Wow.
I went down for 3 months and I stayed for 2 years.
In Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Now,
Exactly.
the Spirit of D.C., that's a ship?
Yeah, exactly. It's like one of those like dinner cruises. And that's where I worked with Ryan, by the way. I was like, wow, this guy made it to Broadway. By the way, Ryan made it to Broadway. That was our goal, is to make it to Broadway.
Oh, yes, he did. Yeah. The first time I met Ryan, he and Tracie were doing a play called The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And he was one of the dancers, and it was so much fun. So at one point you moved from acting to theater. I mean, to making film. How did that work? Because
Well,
acting is is all scripted.
yes.
So you moved from scripted to non-scripted work.
Exactly. Well, I started working at MTV. I started as an intern at MTV. I stayed there for a couple of years, and I worked my way up to, I was one of the original producers of MTV Cribs at the time. So that was where I got like my teeth into nonfiction. I was part of the MTV News and Docs department,
Right.
which was really a great learning ground for a filmmaker like myself. And even in the industry, if you look at some of the reality things that have gone out, so many people have come from that department. And I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to do real people stories, but at the same time, I still do scripted. I do commercials. I direct sitcoms for Disney. So I'm still, I try to be a versatile filmmaker, but ultimately I still want to do things that involve theater, but on film. Like to me, like the ultimate dream is to do like movie musicals. So that's
Wow.
eventually it'll
Wow.
all come together, all my experience.
You know, you talk about scripted, non-scripted. You know, the next film you and I worked on was another John Leguizamo film that he had created this piece for Broadway, another piece for Broadway, and I went up to see it. As a matter of fact, my wife and I. And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, so after John did Ghetto Clown, which was a great hit on Broadway, he got the kind of the kernel of an idea, which is Latin history has not really been celebrated in the pages of American history books in the way that it deserves to be.
We got a lot of work to do here tonight, and I got very little time to do it because I got to undo your whole education and the entire way you think, and it's not going to be easy because that's in there deep.
And part of it is, you know, it's systemic and it's been there. However, the textbooks are done a certain way in Texas, most of them, by the way. So we've been kind of erased from the pages. But he said, rather than just complaining about it, let me do a show on it. So he created a show called Latin History for Morons. And, you know, I was there with him from the very beginning. We would go on the road and, you know, John's process, if you see the films, you'll learn a lot about his work process. But he loves to refine it. You talk about starting with like a 4-hour script in his basement, performing it for some friends, and then going to a black box theater, performing it for a larger group of friends. So eventually he got on the road and did it in comedy clubs. And so I was there for that entire journey, all the way till he got to the public theater. And it culminated with him on Broadway, which thank God I made my Broadway debut there as a producer. Not an actor, but I did make it to Broadway, just a different way.
And it was quite successful.
Yeah, it did really well. We got nominated for a Tony that year,
Yes,
and
congratulations.
Thank you.
I think what was cool about it, when I saw it, the audience was, I bet, mostly Latino when I saw it, and John could feel the audience. And there are times when he started to speak in Spanish, and the folks were responding to him, and it was so powerful to see that. And I just, I think live theater like that is almost at its best, when it's spontaneous and sometimes quite surprising. We don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I also remind folks again, this is a telethon. This is a fundraiser for Adventure Theater. I can get so involved talking to Ben. I just want to remind everybody that's what we're here for, to help raise money for Adventure Theater. So please dig in your pockets, folks, and help the theater. So we went on from there, and then I left PBS, and then you've had so many more ideas, but then all of a sudden, you know, one that we had talked about when I was at PBS was Raul Julia, and all of a sudden there's a poster back there. So I know what that film was like. I know that we were, you know, that American Masters, you know, wanted this film really greatly. The other two had been on great performances on PBS, you know, big national programs, series, and then all of a sudden American Masters and Raul Julia. Tell us about that story and that journey.
Sure. Well, with Raul Julia, the same thing. It was somebody that I admired because it was a Latino who had made it to the upper echelons of Broadway and theater and Hollywood. Somebody I grew up admiring and looking up to. And so one day I happened to be at a gala event in Hollywood, and his widow, Meryl, was there. I made a beeline to her table and I said, I've always really looked up to your husband, but I feel like his story has never been told in the way that I think he deserves. And she said, oh, other people have come up to me and et cetera, but all right, let's get together for lunch. So we got together for lunch in New York City, and I kind of laid out a little bit of my vision for the project. And she handed over the keys, so to speak, to his story.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players.
They have their exits and entrances.
And one man in his time plays many parts.
Showtime! My name is Gomez Adam.
Not since Jose Ferrer has Puerto Rico produced such a talent as Raul Julia.
She moves me not, or not removes that least affection dead in me, where she as rough as are the swelling Adriatic Sea.
The first time I saw him in Shakespeare in the Park was just absolutely mesmerized. He knocked my socks off.
It took about 4 years, and I should mention, by the way, this is the Donald Toms Wall of Fame. You've been the exec producer of all my films so far.
That's right. That's funny. No. And again, though, you know, with Raul Julia, I just can remember, you know, as I said to anyone who's watching Ben work a room is amazing. So I can imagine you going over the Meryl. I'm sure she couldn't turn you down. But you know, when we pitched the project to Michael Cantor at American Masters, he knew exactly what it was. And again, with Michael, with any good thing, it's like, what is the film? How is it gonna work? What's it gonna look like? Because you're talking national public television, and it has to be right. It just has to be spectacular. And it is. I mean, it really, really is. It got nominated for an Emmy Award, you know, and I was so proud of that. And yet, though, telling the story, and I was just, again, remember watching your cuts, and again, watching to see after a while, you know, again, the first rough cut was great, thinking, okay, this is going to be good. But then watching you nuance, the nuances in every piece, and letting your team sometimes taking a swag, hit at it, you know, just tightening and sweetening and moving and shifting things. And it made it such a brilliant, brilliant film. And I'm sure Meryl, and I talked to Meryl, and she was so happy, you know, with that film.
Yeah, they were, it just felt so good. It was like one of the most rewarding projects because I felt like we put him back into the conversation, so to speak.
Yes.
It got reviewed all over. There were like a ton of celebrities who were talking about it. We had premieres in LA, New York. We even went to the first theater that he performed professionally in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And did an entire gala and premiere, red carpet, standing ovation. It's just been like one of the great honors and highlights of my life, not just professionally, just overall.
Hey, Ben, as I'm just, you know, as we're kind of wrapping up a little bit, I know you and I are working on a current project, and we're just hoping that'll finally get greenlit, and we'll talk to people about that later. But I love the fact that you said you're working on so many other things, you know, while I think it's great you tell Latin stories, but you're telling all kinds of stories because you really are prolific. I mean, you do a lot of work, and I know you've got a little girl. What do you tell her about your work, and where do you think she might end up? Any idea?
She loves editing now, all of a sudden. Like, she just discovered it on her own. She's 9 years old. She's been here for, I don't know, her first set that she was on was when she was 6 months old on a music video that I was directing.
Wow.
So she's been around it all her life, so she kind of understands it. But I try to, when I travel a lot, this time a lot. Before the pandemic, I was traveling too much, but it just was what I have to do. So I tell her I do this, for us. It's not just me out there partying or having fun. I'm really doing this to provide a good life, but also she understands the kinds of stories I want to tell. And so I really tell her about like Latin heroes and people that she can look up to, so that she realizes that it's possible. It's like, if you don't see yourself in different roles or different careers, it's like you don't even think of the possibilities. So, I'm doing that on a bigger scale, like in terms of the work that I do, but in terms of her, I definitely let her know anything and everything is possible for you. So
I do think it's important because both you and I are fathers of fathers. Of course, I've got a daughter who's a very successful actress, and and my son Austin, who is working on his music and things like that. It's like, how do you, for people out there, for young kids out there who want to get into this business, what do you say to them? How do you coach them, or what would you say?
One of the things that I do is I tell people simply just do it. If you have an idea to shoot something, then just go shoot it. Nowadays with the technology, there's really not an excuse to be able to tell stories, in that way. So my daughter, when she wants to do something, she shoots it, she edits it herself, she puts music in, and then I look at it, and she's 9, by the way. I couldn't do that when I was like 29. So I just encourage them to not wait for the perfect time, to just do it, and to also just keep showing up. Like, a lot of the things that have happened in my career have just come from me showing up and being in the room. Like, you see me, Donald, when I started going to the PBS annual meetings, it was like a lot of those connections led to green lights.
No, of course. No, and I think it is important. I know I've had this argument. I'm going to talk about it later with Tracie and Austin, as a matter of fact, because they're going to be joining, me later. Is that, my wife's a social worker, and it's always, she works. She has a regular job, a regular paycheck. And then we had Tracie, who didn't quite want that. She wanted to be a singer. She wanted to be an actress. And Tracie was torn between her dad, who she calls me just the dreamer of her life, and her mom, who's the straight and narrow, and trying to fit in between it. And I finally, at one point, said to her, I said, you have to follow your heart. You cannot do this for me. You can't do it for your mom. Whatever it is, you have to do it. And I think, though, that's what parents have to. They have to let it go sometimes. Let their kids go, and yet the kids. I think you're right, Ben. The always show up, keep showing up, and just doing it is so important for young kids, and for kids who say they can't do it. Of course, you can do it.
Yes.
Of course, you can. I mean, there's nothing stopping you, in many ways. And if you run into a wall, you climb the wall.
I'm gonna bust a hole through it.
Or bust a hole through it. You're absolutely right. So anyway, I cannot tell you how much fun it is. As long as I've known you, it's just great seeing the reaps of your reward. I mean, because you're so talented, and I think in the end of the day, you're a nice guy.
Oh.
And I've been in this business. I've had people say to me, God, how did you're such a nice guy. Well, nice guys win sometimes. All right.
Exactly.
Ben, thank you so much. All righty.
Thank you, Godfather.
All righty.
Take care.
Hi, everybody. So, I agree, Donald. You are the Godfather. You are. I'm in. I want to just point out that, as you can see in the upper right corners, we have a lot of our sponsors who have donated to us already. Panera Bread is one of our big sponsors for food, and gave us a generous donation. So I'm actually eating their Chipotle flatbread, which is really great. This is a nice kind of energy pickup for me that I need for dinner today. Yeah. I'm in my heading into my 5th hour. So your kids are pretty amazing. I mean, because it's tough to be in the shadow of someone like you, who you really are an important part of the history of PBS, the history of a lot of these young filmmakers who have now made themselves into something. So, you know, I just want to thank you. And then you have these kids who also made a name for themselves.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. And I think you know, what you're going to see in the interview coming up is that listening to Austin talk about the fact that he grew up in, you know, when Austin and Tracie are 12 years apart. So when he grew up, Tracie was really establishing herself, and Austin used to see me on television doing pledge drives, and you know, he said at one point that I was going someplace and I was working for Discovery then, and you know, they picked me up in a limo to take me to the airport, and his friend said, "Who is he?" so and I think though, and I think though, the fact that they're both, again, they're really nice kids, and they're smart kids, and they're funny kids, and I think though that's what the interview coming up is going to show.
Yeah, so let's play the video, but it's the generosity of the parent shows in the generosity of the kids. So really, Donald, all hearts to you, and thank you for that.
Hey, welcome, kids.
Here we go.
Hey, Dad.
Hi, Daddy.
I can't believe that after all these years we're getting to do this together. That all three of us, it's just to talk about great things. And we both know we're doing this. We're doing this for Adventure Theater. And you may remember last year, Adventure Theater, I was their guest of honor for their gala. And this year, of course, they're doing 30 hours, something they call the Stream-a-thon, where they're going to be live guests and people throughout 30 hours. And so we decided, let's talk to some really, really kind of clever people. And they said, well, what about Tracie and Austin? I said, all right, that should be kind of fun, because you both have interesting careers. Yeah. And how you got into them. So I thought we would chat about that a little bit. And you know, I say to the audience who's watching, remember, this is a fundraiser. So people dig into your pockets, and please, you know, join us and donate to Adventure Theater, because they've been doing children's theater for forever, and kids benefit so much from it, as do the parents. So let's kind of start with the older Toms here. So Tracie,
who can get?
So somewhere along the line, you were born into this family of, you know, of Mom and I, and when did the whole thing of showbiz, when did that occur to you? What part?
I think what happened was, I don't know when it happened. Like, people ask me this all the time. They're like, oh, when did you know you want to be an actor? That came later, but I don't remember seeing my first play, because the theater has been a part of my life my whole life. I don't remember that. I don't remember not being aware of the arts, because it was always a part of our life growing up. And we grew up around a very eclectic group of beautiful, artistic people of all races and, you know, genders and gender identities. And so, but I feel like somehow, when I was about 8, I went to dance class with Aaron, remember?
Yes.
At Wally Saunders Dance Studio in Baltimore, Maryland.
Wally Saunders was huge in Maryland, just huge. Yeah. Yes.
Huge. It was like jazz class. And I quickly knew that I was not very good at dancing. I wasn't good at that. But, and then Junior Star Search was a thing. Do you remember? And then for some reason I became obsessed with being on Junior Star Search. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I couldn't dance very well. And singing, I wasn't good at singing then. They had this acting part. And I was like, wait, you just pretend? Play make pretend? And like, whatever, I could do that. And I went in your room and I said, Mom, Dad, I want to take acting classes. And you said, okay, done. And then from 9 on, I was in acting class. But I think, you know, being an only child as I was at that time before Austin came along, I had to do a lot of imagination. I had to really entertain myself. And Austin then had to entertain himself when I left.
But of course, though, you were entertaining as a kid, because you really could take center stage no matter how old you were.
It's so strange because I feel like I was a
Shocker.
shy kid. No,
Yeah, no. But
you know,
but
I was a
also,
shy kid, but then I had the switch that went off, and I'm like, come see my room, and let me tell you a
but I do
story.
think you said something interesting is the fact that, because I've been in television for as long as you guys were born, and again, both of you we end up in a studio with me in some sense, or or being on set someplace, and seeing this world that almost didn't exist. But at one point, though, I tell people that Mom and I heard you singing downstairs in the basement. I said, "Oh Lord, she's just terrible. Where did she get this from?" And then fast forward many years, we went to see you in what was it?
It was Big River.
And I was sitting next to your grandfather, Mac, and the play started, and you were singing off stage. Somebody was singing off stage, and Mac said, "Who is that?" I said, "Is that Tracie?" And then you walked on stage, and and I said, "Oh my God, when did she learn to sing?" So somewhere that in this process, you ended up going to the School for the Arts.
Yeah, I went to School for the Arts for high school,
but it had to be a big deal.
Well, it was, but if you remember, I was at Arena Players youth theater before that.
That's true.
At 13, and all of my friends were auditioning for School for the Arts, and I was following my cousin's footsteps and going to Western High School for 9th grade. And you were like, "Why aren't you trying out for School for the Arts?" I'm like, "I want to be normal, Dad." You're like, "But like you knew I wasn't normal, but I didn't know I wasn't normal yet." Normal meaning like just
right.
Normal, not like an artist, you know what I mean? Because somehow we think that artists are normal, but because at Arena Players we're doing musicals all the time. We're doing musicals all the time at Arena Players, and I was singing and stuff, and you were always like, "Great job" or whatever. You didn't tell me that I couldn't sing.
Well, but I think though you grew into it. But I remember is that you did Once on This Island, and you wanted the starring role so badly
that I sat out in the sun.
Because you were too light skinned, they decided they needed a darker girl because that was the role.
Well, they did. They were right.
And so you used to sit outside and try to get dark. I'm thinking this isn't going to work. But then you played the light skinned girl, and you actually did a dance. Some girls that I remember, and I said, "Where did you learn how to dance?" Because you were arching your foot and all those things. But somewhere along the line is that, and this was all before Austin was born.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and so then
you like to.
So you went to School for the Arts for 3 years and did plays there, and you were in an amazing acting ensemble.
I was.
You guys were all good, and then to Howard University, where you
a radio TV film major at the beginning.
Yes, and I couldn't understand why you chose radio and television.
Well, because I was just afraid. I was just afraid to really commit myself to like acting because I didn't see anybody who looked like me. There was nobody who looked like me.
Yeah.
Doing what I did.
And did you not actually get like a starring role as a freshman?
I did.
And that's what kind of turned you over. I hope that.
I thought I could just do both, but then you shamed me in front of one of your friends and asked them. You shamed me because one of your friends was like, "Hey, Tracie, this is my daughter Tracie. She's a theater major at Howard University." And I was like, "No, Dad, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, she's a communications major. Why aren't you a theater major? You don't even like that."
That's a little dramatic. Austin,
no, it was very dramatic for me, Dad, because that made me change my whole major. That conversation changed the course of my life. So it was dramatic for me.
I know, dramatic for you. And then you went on to Juilliard.
And I went to Juilliard. But while I was at Howard, I studied Shakespeare at
Juilliard School.
At Oxford, at the British American Academy. At Oxford, I studied Shakespeare there.
That's right.
And then I went on to Juilliard.
And your first role outside of Juilliard was what?
That's a good question. My first role was at the Shakespeare Theater in DC, and the Antigone, the Oedipus cycle.
Oh, you did that. You also did As If.
As If was okay. So I remember that first year very well. So when I was coming out of Juilliard, I booked a commercial, that accepted commercial. I did a horrible independent movie called Everyone's Depressed. Please do not look it up. And then I did the Oedipus cycle at the Shakespeare Theater.
Right.
And then I did A Raisin in the Sun at Center Stage.
Yes, you played.
And then I did As If.
Okay,
After
so
that.
As If was
That
a
was into, like,
failed TV series.
A failed
Two
TV series.
two
we got
episodes.
canceled. After that, I did a pilot with Chevy Chase, and then I did Joe Turner's Come and Gone in Kansas City, and then I did The Exonerated.
Oh boy. Okay.
Remember that little tour? And then I did Wonderfalls.
You did Wonderful, which was the critics loved. Audiences didn't come to it so far, and then
In there, I did an off-Broadway play, the Antigone Project, in New York, at the Women's Project. It was called The Women's Project, was a theater, and the play was the Antigone Project. And then I booked Rent.
The symbols won't delay, but the cable.
There's another way. Say something. Anything.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Anything but that.
I think I know what you mean.
The tango Maureen.
Take me for what I am. Who I was meant to be.
Snob yet over attentive.
And if you give a damn,
a lovable drove
take me, baby.
And ain't over attentive.
Then I got Devil Wears Prada.
Do you want it? You want? Oh, I think she likes it.
Oh my God! This is new Marc Jacobs. This is sold out everywhere. Where did you get this?
Miranda didn't want it, so.
Oh no! This bag is like $1,900. I cannot take this from you.
You can.
And then I booked Cold Case. And then I moved to LA with Cold Case. And that,
Okay,
now we're in
Cold Case you did for
2005.
how many years?
A Cold Case ran for me for 4.5 years, but it ran for 7 years.
Okay, cool. Sorry, let's stop for you for a bit.
Yeah,
So
that's enough.
somewhere along the line, little Austin came along. You know,
Little Austin Curtis.
13 years later, you guys are 12 years apart.
12 and a half, 12 and some change.
Yeah.
We say 13.
So somewhere along the line, you had a house. You had a house where you grew up in a house where you had a social worker mom who was pretty much, she was on the ball or focused social worker, and then you had a sister who was becoming a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
And you also end up having a father who was on TV locally.
Lovely,
local celebrity.
local celeb, yeah.
Another kind of celeb. And so what was that like?
I think it was just normal. I think it took a while for it to even
You thought
register.
Yeah.
Register that this is a thing. You know, it was just normal for me. You know, and then I think, you know, there comes a time where you start to realize, like, okay, you know, my sister's on TV. You know, your friends will be like, hey, I saw your dad on TV. Or, hey, I saw your sister on that. And then it's like, okay, 'cause when you got, what was the school? Because I remember when I was in middle school, you got As If.
Mhm.
And that was the first time it had transferred from dad being on TV to people were like, oh, I saw your sister on As If.
Well, I never
So this-
realized that. Okay.
So this is like 7th grade, you know, 8 something. So it was like, that was her. And then once Rent happened, that was kind of the big, like, the news came to. I remember the news came to our house, and I had just there we go. I had just came home from football practice. I remember I was like super tired and sweaty. And here's the news. It's like as soon as I come in, there's like a boom, and then and you're
so
making
funny.
there's a boom mic in my face, and you're making pancakes, and it's like okay, and they're like, how's this feel, Austin? And I'm like, this is great. This is great.
I didn't know this was happening.
And I don't think I knew it was. I mean, I probably did, but it was still
Right,
pretty
right.
surprising
Yeah.
to walk into that. So
But,
yeah, of course,
yeah.
there's. Go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, is that by having that kind of environment,
Mhm.
do you think that gave you more of a latitude to be an artist?
Yes.
You know, because a lot of times, boys in the house, it's like they got to play sports, they got to do this, they got to do that, and all of a sudden you've got this artistic family. And do you think that gave you more latitude to go into the art?
100%. And then, but there's also like, okay, if I do my art, and I'm still discovering what my art is, it's like, okay, is it going to affect the way people see us all as a unit? Because I would think like that, like, okay, well, yeah, I would think about that. Okay, so dad's on TV, he's on TV. What art should I choose? Should I am I going to make the name proud and the legacy?
I'm sure you did.
But for the most part, super normal. It didn't feel like pressure to be an artist. Once I started figuring out my art, I would be like, oh, how am I gonna, do I need to separate myself from the Toms? I would talk to my friends about that, and they're like, well, your sister's on TV and she can do whatever, so you shouldn't like try to, put a cap on your art. You should let it be as free as you want, because clearly it runs in the family. So it should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I do remember, I remember taking you to see Les Miserables, and you had to be 7. Yep. And I had to get a booster seat for you, and it was just you and me, because I always loved taking each of you by myself someplace.
Yeah.
Just the two of us, because mom would do the same thing. But I remember we went to see The Lion King. And I was looking at a piece of that, and I remember that it was just you and me in the movies watching The Lion King, and I knew the scene was coming up where the father was going to die, and I'm thinking, and I remember reaching out and whispering in your ear, something terrible is about to happen, but remember, it's not real. And you said, what is it? I said, no, I'm not going to tell you. And then when it happened, you just went, you looked at me like this, and I think I'm glad I warned you.
Yeah, it's a horrible moment. Film and the play.
Terrible. Both movies.
Very sad.
Both movies in the play.
No, it was sad because we took Tracie to see Fantasia, and when Mickey Mouse died, I just remember Tracie was devastated, and I remember I didn't want you to go through the same thing. So I also do want to remind folks that while the three of us are having such a great time, is that we're with Adventure Theater, and this is their fundraising event. And so please, if you're having a good time, if you like what you're seeing, remember just how important Adventure Theater is to the community of Washington, D.C. and Maryland. And a lot of kids go through that program and come out as actors and professionals. So please dig deep. And this is a fundraiser. And I do this a lot for Maryland Public Television, begging for money. So I want to do the same thing. Make sure that if you like what you're saying, that you help. Anyway, so Austin, so your art is, I do remember you coming home one day being terribly excited, and you and I don't know which friend of yours had made.
Probably Smokey. Yeah, he's probably involved.
Anyway, you guys had made a record. You did a song.
The first song I recorded was actually with Tim.
It was Tim.
Yeah. Actually on wax. Yeah, I don't know if Smokey was present. I feel like he might have been there for that celebratory moment.
Yeah.
What song was that?
It was like, can't take it no longer. Really gotta get stronger. That's right. Tim was on the
I remember it because you were
a song about Baltimore.
Yeah, you were pumped when you walked in the door, and we, of course, we played it. I don't know if I had something. What format was it on? Do you remember?
Probably a CD.
CD, and I had a CD player up there, and we played it loudly for all day.
Yeah.
So I remember, and I still remember that moment. And then you went to Cardinal Gibbons High School.
Cardinal Gibbons, yeah.
And then you went to Morgan, and radio. So clearly there was some sort of. And you went to my alma mater, by the way.
Your alma mater. Yeah. Well, to go back, I think the first, bug I would get was like creative writing. Maybe, as a kid, it would be like the poetry. And then I remember like in middle school, they would have like, just like a rap cipher. And then I would kind of slowly get involved in that. And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of good at this thing, with the words.
That's true. We had a family reunion. Mm-hmm. And of course, Tracie's the, Tracie's the star, and Austin did. And I said to her as we were driving down to the family reunion, Austin, you ought to do something. There's a talent section. Why don't you do something? And you said, okay, all right, Dad. And then you were back there on your phone doing something. And so then, and I said, did you prepare something? You said, yeah. And I said, and I wanted, me, I'm the producer. I said, should I see it? No. And then Austin said, let's do the very first Tom's Family rap.
Yeah.
And it blew everybody away. I
Okay.
just remember, about the words, and thing. But again, though, it's like I was just trying to figure out where, I knew that this music thing was really good for you, because after Morgan, after a while, you left and you went to live with Tracie.
Yeah. So creative writing. But even in middle school, I was taking mass communications in middle school. That was it was like a magnet.
Oh, that's right. You went to magnet school.
Yeah, so we're like shooting music videos. So that's kind of like a little taste of mass communication and behind the scenes type of. And that was like a fun group. It was like a creative group to be a part of.
Yeah, but I don't know if you know this, but when Austin was little, he used to study comedians. Like he was really into like.
Yep, I was into comedy.
Yeah, really into comedy, and I had a moment where I was like, "Is Austin gonna be like a stand-up comic?" Because he's
Well,
really
if you read the, yes.
Yeah, so there was that, and then I think my first big Tom's writing moment was our grandfather Mac's funeral.
And what was interesting about that is that it was my father's funeral, and I was kind of not hosting, but I was kind of making sure things went away. And so, and I and Tracie and Austin, they both did a tribute to their grandfather, and Tracie Tracie went first. And then little quiet Austin came on and absolutely stole the show. He stole it. I mean, I know this is a funeral, but you stole it.
Like,
Tracie was so surprised. But then I got up and I said, note to self, never follow your children, because it is. I think that there is something about the comedy you've got going, the writing you've got going, and you and your writing producing partner Gary put together a six song EP.
Yeah, we have an EP that's out. It's called Blue Dream by Roundtable is the group, and the E and the L are inverted so we can stand out. And that music, because you had played some other music and that I thought was a little hip hoppy, rappy for me. But then when this came out, this music is good. I mean, it's really good, and you can tell you're writing because it's more thoughtful, more sophisticated. And then Tracie actually sings on one of them.
Featured on one of the hooks.
Tracie's on the song, one of the songs. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's what makes me and Gary a good team, because I kind of came from just like rappity rap, words on words on words, and he's like a musician, saxophone player.
Yeah. Also
went to school for the arts, which is kind of why we clicked immediately. When I met him, he was in a band with one of my best friends, Smokey. And, I went to the show and we were talking afterwards, and he's like, yeah, I went to school for the arts. I'm like, so did my sister. And we kind of became fast friends.
Yeah.
Great. I fell in love with his parents and his sister, they're like family. So, but what makes us a good team is he brings that musicality with so he makes all the beats. So he brings that musicianship, and he's not I'm the better writer. And so sometimes I'll help him write. But that's what makes us. It makes it is duo.
And I love the video Finer Things, because it just brings out, I think, the personality in both of you.
Grain, switching lanes, down the range, fucking grain. I just want them finer things. I just want them finer things. Top down, roof fall, same color, hot sauce. I just want them finer things. I just want them finer things.
Rose up the yaya, smoke it on fire. Think like a king in the call sire. Hip hop's the prophet, don't call me messiah. I just want that paper like a notebook divide. I'm talking about 5-star living, personal chefs in my kitchen.
So you both are out there now, and Tracie, we left you with Cold Case. In Cold Case, with Cold Case, Rent, and the movie
Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, the Devil Wears Prada. They all kind of hit in 4 years?
No, they all hit within like 1 year, 2 years, and then later on that year, I booked Death Proof by Quentin Tarantino. So
Yeah.
kids, when you get old enough, you can see that movie. Not
Yep.
yet.
You're 18.
It's a very mature film, Quentin Tarantino. And that came out in 2007. So in that 2-year period of 2005 2007, Rent, Cold Case, Devil Wears Prada, and Death Proof all came out in those 2 years.
So also let's remind folks why we're here. This is Adventure Theater's 30-hour telethon. I'm here with my kids, Austin Thoms and Tracie Thoms, musicians, actors, singer, producers, and those things. I'm having a great time, and I hope you are too. So if you're having a good time, please, dig deep in your pockets, help fund Adventure Theater, for all the things they're doing for the kids in this area, because it is so, so very important. So as we kind
I
of
will
wrap
also
up here-
add to that, Daddy. I would add that the reason I'm here where I am is because I went to a youth theater myself, a different one, but in the area. So it's so important to give kids an outlet and creativity, and people underestimate how important it is and how it actually affects a child's worldview. It helps them to be more tolerant of people and more compassionate and more empathetic to people. So it's not just for kids who want to be actors. It really broadens the human experience for any child.
Yeah.
So it's really important that we support these programs.
So I guess as we kind of wrap up, is that Tracie, you're right now on shooting 911, on Fox.
911 and Truth Be Told.
And Truth Be Told, which is on Apple TV, with Octavia Spencer. The other thing I should mention is that Austin talked about him being a DJ, and I'm thinking, well, really, a DJ? And then I saw him. It was maybe one of Tracie's birthday parties or something, but I heard the music going in, and Mom and I saw you in the corner, commanding the presence of how many hundreds of people was at Tracie's party, and you can really control the night. When you think about it, is that you never think about kind of what a DJ does, but you're producing the party.
Yeah, you're kind of setting the whole tone, and that kind of started in college. I would just be playing music, and then I remember I had a roommate that was like, "Hey, you're kind of good at this. You're kind of rocking it right now." And I would encourage kids that want to get into music or hip hop to, think about DJing too, because a lot of kids go right for singing or rapping, and forget about there's a career in DJing too.
You could be a world.
You could be a millionaire. You can go radio. And I've DJed for artists and been in front of some huge crowds. So it's like, as for kids out there, you can be right there living that life and not necessarily know how to rap or sing.
No, you're right.
But that's another
If you're a
skill.
music lover.
But if you love music, there's another avenue.
Tracie, what about you? What do you tell kids who want to get in this business?
Well, it's weird because I tell kids, I'm like, listen, like what we do as artists and particularly actors, our life is like, people see the end result of it. People see like the glamour, they see us on TV and things, and they don't see the struggle leading up to it. And while it's rewarding, you have to be relentless about it, and if it's not for you, you'll know. It's like, I can't do this anymore. And there's no shame in that. If it's like, it's not for you, it's not for you, and it's okay. Doesn't mean you failed at life. It means like, maybe this isn't for you, because it takes a relentless amount of energy and force to make this life happen. But if you know it's for you, if you feel it in your bones, and you love it, and it's speaking to you, you really have to be unstoppable. Like, you can't let anything stop you.
And so for everybody, this has been a wonderful time. Remember, this is Adventure Theater's Stream-a-thon, so please dig in your pockets and give to Adventure Theater. Tracie and Austin, thank you so much. Dad loves you. You know that.
You two are you're so sweet. I love that Leon's waving. Is that one of his hats, really? Unmute him so that he can talk. He's muted. No.
I missed the cupcakes, so I wanted to make sure I wished Donald a happy birthday.
Yay! You need a candle on the top of that head. Oh, you do have a candle on your head. Oh yeah. Oh, jeez. Oh, Leon. I thought it was great. I was texting Tracie and Austin the whole time.
and friends who were watching. So that was great. It was good.
Well, it was great material, Donald. I mean, the beauty of it is that you can see the love within your family, and
yeah.
And it's hard raising artists because we can be a handful, right? And so
just a little.
Yeah, and each in their own way, you know, in essence. So you really kind of have to let it grow a little bit, you know, and just let it land and try to massage where you can. And actually, there are times when you simply say no.
Yeah, it is a testament to your parenting, Donald, and Tracie and Anthony. They're both so fun that they love each other so much.
Oh my God! Can you not tell that? Yeah, no, you can tell because you know Austin was at home after he finished college. He had a couple of jobs. But you know, it just wasn't working, and you know, and one Christmas, and I was really on him. And one Christmas, they were sitting in the corner and typing on the computer, and this was Christmas Day. And Tracie said, "Daddy, I just want to let you know that I've just booked Austin on a flight to come to LA, and he's coming to LA, and he's moving with me." And I said, "When?" When Tracie said, like, it's like the 28th, so he can be there for the New Year's Eve party. I said, no, you know, and you can't say no. He was an adult, and thank God they let me have my way a little bit, so that we packed up his things and got his car moved, and they left at the end of January, and he's been out there for 8 or 9 years, I think, and. You know, and they do. They feed off each other. They're best friends. They look after each other and very protective.
What's the age difference?
I think it's
13
years. I think it's 12 years.
The 12 and a half is what they kept saying.
Yeah,
and
12 and a half. You know, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I kind of remember my kids' birthdays.
I know. You know, I know if I know the dates. You know, I never get those. But remember, Tracie was a teenager when Austin was born, and so you know, I'm not quite sure how she felt about that. You know, all of a sudden, you know, she's 13 years old, and Tracie didn't even want to like walk the streets with Austin because people thought he was hers. You know, so but they're like best friends, always have been.
Yeah, they're super cute together.
That's cool. My sister is 9 years older than me, and I really felt it when she left home. Like and like it took us a long road to get back. Like I was a mad young man when she left home, and it took us a long time to get back to like being friends again because that was like so upsetting.
Is that when you started wearing hats in anger?
Hats in anger. Never wear a hat angry. You can do many things when you're angry, but never wear a hat angry. It never works out well.
I suppose you're right.
Oh, Donald, don't feed into the crazy. Please don't feed into the crazy. No, this is great. So, Donald, thank you again, and all the pleas and calls for action. So, thank you for that. And
Thank
again,
you.
please, please again, donate if you can. We'd really appreciate it. We are getting closer and closer to our goal. I believe we're almost at 80 now, 80,000. So we're just plowing away. And
that's good to know.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Text adventure to 56651. And I know all of Donald's friends want to wish him a happy birthday. So there's no better gift than the gift of giving.
That's right. That's really good. Wow, that was smooth. You led right into that one, boy.
He's a pro, Donald. He's a pro, just like you. You're a pro. So thank you again.
It was great spending my an hour of my birthday with you. My wife, and I told my wife, I said I'll only be there an hour, and I think we're gonna sneak someplace and have a quiet dinner. But
are you cooking?
No, I decided I was not cooking today. I cook almost every day.
I see it on Facebook. You put these lovely meals out there.
Today I decided not to cook.
Oh, good for you. It's your day.
My day.
Enjoy your day.
I'll be cooking tomorrow. All righty.
Though you are gonna have to give. We're gonna sit down and have some steak because some of your grills are just beautiful.
Some of my what?
some of your grills. When you grill, you and I we need to do some grilling.
No, we should do that. Because I just got a new stove because my stove was out of my stove died the end of October. I didn't get it until January the 23rd. So I went through Christmas and Thanksgiving without a stove.
Ooh. And during the pandemic.
No, but as it turned out, and plus I just like to challenge it at all. So I could have cooked outside on the grill, but with a slow cooker, with an air fryer, with a small oven, with the thing on the stove things on the top.
Well, thank
Back
you
to
again.
college cooking.
Yeah, thank you again, Donald. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Donald. Happy
Thank you, everybody.
birthday.
Okay.
Happy birthday. Enjoy.
Thank you.
So I know that Tamlyn is slowly getting into the stream. Tamlyn is here.
Tamlyn's in the house.
I'm here. It's like I am so stupid because Tamlyn doesn't pay attention to details and she thought it was a Zoom. And I go, oh, shoot, it's StreamYard. Got to go over to the laptop, not the phone. So here I am, but it is 4:01, so I don't know when that clicked to 4:01. And there's Yuji!
Oh, my goodness.
How are you feeling? How you doing? Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So thank you, Yuji, for joining us as well.
Yeah, my pleasure.
For everyone, this is we are in our 6th hour or 5th hour. No, wait. Yes, we're getting into our 5th hour of our 30-hour streamathon. We are fundraising for our theater company, Adventure Theater. We're based in the DMV, that's the DC, Metro, Virginia, Maryland area. We are, however, one of the top 10 largest family theater companies in the country. And I happen to be the only Asian artistic director of all of those things. So, yay. I don't think you knew that, Tamlyn. I'm the only Asian artistic director in family theater, period.
What? That's interesting. What's the criteria for family
There is
theater?
one family theater, or some of them call it children's theater. There's one family theater in Hawaii, but
Kumu.
yes,
Okay.
but that one is run by a gentleman who's Hali, but there is also another very small children's theater in Hawaii, but I'm not sure what the name is. But it's a small theater company. While Adventurers, we're one of the big ones here. So, yay. Anyway.
Congratulations. No.
Congrats.
But how many other artistic theater directors?
There are almost 180 in the country.
Okay.
So out of 180.
Mm-hmm.
And out of 180, there's only 3 people of color who are artistic directors for family theaters. Who are artistic, yeah.
We see you, white American theater. I think this is the
By the way, I'm having the green tea Kit Kat.
Mm-hmm.
And in honor of you, Tamlyn, because
oh my God, they're too sweet. They're too sweet. They're not like me, right? Yuji knows.
So thank you, Yuji. I know you and I have not met, so thank you for coming in and agreeing to come in and join us today.
Yeah, no problem. I got a call from Tamlyn, said she wanted me to hop on, and I'm always down to help.
Yeah, it's hard to say no to Tamlyn. It's hard to say no to Tamlyn, isn't it?
No, that's not true. Well, no, I do adore both of you, and Yuji is my big brother. But I guess the coincidence and the mutuality is that you're both, very strong, vocal Asian American men creators. So I wanted to just put that spotlight, and being that you're storytellers, in that Yuji's a filmmaker and a producer in film and television, hopefully, and Chil is also that in theater, primarily in this point of his life. But again, he's done film and television and theater. It was just no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. So it was like, okay, got to get these two together. So yeah.
Yes, in the late part of my life, yes. No, but I love having the two of you here because a bunch of things. But I just want to do one house thing, whatever that we call it. It's just that, again, just text adventure to 56651. That's adventure to 56651, and it'll take you directly to the donation link. If you do want to ask both Tamlyn or Yuji a question about many things, please let us know. Just put it, because I do see the comments. We have it in the feed. So ping us. In the meantime, we are just going to talk about all kinds of stuff. One of them, I know that a lot of people are going to ask this. So you all had to keep quiet about Cobra Kai for a while, didn't you?
And I hope Yuji is still keeping quiet, because I just hope that the no-brainer again is that Chosen will come in and just right everything that's gone wrong in Cobra Kai.
We need clean house.
Oh?
I'm in.
We need clean house.
Exactly, right? That's what I hope for. Yeah, it's we both had to keep quiet, and I think it was when I was asked, I assumed that Yuji was asked, in the same hour. It was like,
it was literally the worst kept secret in Hollywood, because I people were pinging me about it. Here, Philip Chung, you all know him. He was like, yeah, I knew about it. He started texting me already. He's like, yeah, they were doing it. It's like, really, Philip? Come on, man. He didn't, of course, do it publicly. We just texted each other.
Right.
But it's like, and I love it. It's a reunion. It's not. But I love to see the two of you in this. So so how long did you two of you have to keep this under wraps?
November 2019. Well, that was when we started shooting, but I think we found out about the summer of 2019, right?
Yeah. I got contacted. God, I think in late July.
Yeah.
August, early August, something like that.
Yeah.
And that was a long time.
And that was around the same time that Yuji was busy, just trying to put all the bits and pieces together for his film, The Paper Tigers. So I know it was like trying to jam it in there, because it was
because you were in production already, right?
Yeah. Yep. So I found out during production, and it was hard. I got to tell a quick story about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So when I got the word of they wanted to incorporate Chosen's character back into the fold, I wasn't sure if Tamlyn, knew or anything like that. So I'm saying, should I call Tamlyn? Should I text her? Should I, because I was so curious. But I'm sure, she was going to be on. But they just told me that, of my character, and that's all I knew.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny that I couldn't even text yet until I got confirmation. And I'll tell you the hardest thing was when I got the thing, and when we filmed, the hardest thing was not being able to tell anybody when Netflix dropped that trailer and showed a quick pop of me throwing a guy, and then my voice was in it. So after that point, it was a month or so before they actually released a second trailer, which revealed a lot more.
Right.
So I had to keep quiet, and everybody was hitting me left and right, saying, "I saw you. I think that's you. Is that?" And I had to deny it.
Yeah,
that was jacked up. I'm thinking, appreciate it.
And it's like, bald-faced lie. It's like, I can't say yes, but I'm not saying no. That was my clever comeback kind of thing, because Yuji was the tease, because again, it really is in line with the whole legacy of what Miyagi-Do is going to be. And it really lies in Chosen's hands. And of course, and that's, that's the best clickbait. The romance is always the afterthought. But we were super stuck. And when I heard, when Yuji did finally call, because again, he and I are friends, and he didn't want me. I'm sure, you know, because I would feel the same way if I didn't hear that Yuji was in it. It's like it would make me feel bad to say, "Hey, Yuji, are you in it?" And if he wasn't caught, it's just, you know, who hears first, who's not participating. So it's again, you know, Yuji, I love you. It's like, yeah, if it was only Chosen, I would have been even more happier, because then they would have focused on more important stuff, like how is Daniel-san going to, you know, go through this next evolution of his life, because it's obvious how the writers saw that Chosen had grown up. But I have to tell you, I'm going to spill the beans. It's like Yuji made that happen. He took the script and he said, dudes, I gotta change this. I gotta make this sit right with me, Yuji Okamoto playing Chosen Toguchi. I gotta make this right, because, you know, it ain't right. It wasn't right then, but I have the power and the say so and the wisdom and the whole total. I don't care, because exactly.
It was so centered, and I wasn't expecting how centered it was, not just in the martial arts, because there were the Okinawan culture that centered him into the breathing and the meditation, and you know what the technically is the higher levels of martial arts anyway. People forget that it's like once you get past like 5 or 6, it's all actually in their head, in your mind. So I love that. So not that we need to get into any specific, because I don't want you to have to spill those beans, but did you feel like when that moment happened, what was it that allowed you to step in and go, you know what, I'm gonna make this, I want to impact this in a way? What was that for you?
Well, when I got the script, I think there were issues about his character in his first meeting with Daniel-san or Ralph. It was written in a way that it gave my character nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. So when our first meeting, it was written that I was more apologetic for all the you know, the transgressions that I, you know, went through, and so being that it was written that way, I thought, man, if I come in apologetic and then, you know, try and help him with his issues, then I'm just a catalyst to push him through, and there was no journey for Chosen's characters. There's no growth. You can't show that. So I thought, well, why not flip it a little and have him come in hard and not give up anything?
Yeah. But it's so American. Like, please. Like, I barely get a grunt from my dad when we say hi to each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, how do you have this conversation when mostly what we Asian men do to each other is like, like, to even get a like sarange, which is I love you. I say that to my dad, and my dad just kind of looks at me and goes, like,
yeah, it's hilarious. Even at the speaking of parents and whatnot, you know, my mom and dad were on the same wavelength when we had dinners together and whatnot. All my dad had to do, he total samurai too. All my dad had to do is look at something, and then my mom would, "Oh, you want the salt?" You know, no words were spoken at all. And I think that's the interesting aspect of the Asian culture, is that that's what you want to bring into this. Mm-hmm. You know, the spilling of everything, the teachings of everything, martial arts secrets and all that stuff. I don't think any instructor would give up anything freely like that, right? Yeah. It's like you have to earn this stuff. You have to earn the respect. So I thought that was a big, important part of Chosen's character, is the respect and the honor. So that's
I love that he had to fight you for it. I love that he had to fight you for it. I love that. Yeah. And by the way, shout out to a lot of my friends out there: Nick, Cha, Esther, Andrew, all the Whiskey Club folks. I know you're watching this. Donate now. Donate. You know you have to donate now. So I don't want to. I'm seeing your texts. I'm seeing you talking about how they happen to see the two of you together. So you need to donate. Go to the click and donate. Sorry, I had to yell at them for a second. So this is awesome. Because they can't yell back at me except for like. Yeah, but you know the other thing too is the two of you have been a part of the community for such a long time, right? So and we look at Karate Kid 2 as one of the ways that like it launched the two of you into the community. Would that be a good estimate? Because you were doing stuff before. You were like Tamlyn. You were beauty queen, right? I mean, you were doing a few things, but not necessarily community oriented, right?
Not community. Yes, I'm hearing. I'm sorry. Yes, Karate Kid 2 absolutely launched me into this world.
You were very young.
But alongside the community work, absolutely. Yeah, I will absolutely hear that. But Yuji's been it a few years longer than me, but he's always been that kind of role model for young men, young Asian American men to follow. And because he was able to also play the good guys as well as the bad guys, and that just shows the range of his acting ability, is that you're going to love to hate him and you're going to love to love him. So that's the testament to him.
I just remember seeing these two incredibly sexy people who are Asian in this movie. That was a huge hit. I just like, these are beautiful Asian people who are like badass, and and because this came out like when the martial arts trope hadn't really set in the way it is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was still establishing itself. So I just love that it's that, like, I can now kind of push up my chest and go, yeah, we're badass and sexy. You know what I mean? Like,
everybody checks out Yuji's pecs whenever I'm privileged to be around him and go, dude's still good. He's buff. He's like, oh man. It's like, yeah.
Not to get all our kids excited. I'm sorry about that. I know I think I slipped in Crystal a little bit, which is, I see Tamlyn you did to me. I can't you got me doing it now. I know.
This is my Jedi power. Oh no, sorry, I misspoke. I'm not Star Wars. I'm Star Trek. This is my power.
Yeah, let's not get the nerds mad at us.
Yes, the universe is colliding together. But yeah,
I know. Yeah. So now this is a big bookend gap between the two, right? Between Karate Kid 2 and then Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
And you two have done an amazing amount of stuff in between.
Well,
So
Tamlyn has. She's been working like crazy. Wonderful stuff. Really wonderful stuff.
But Yuji's been doing his stuff as well, on top of raising a family and running 2 restaurants. It's again, we're all blessed to be able to do what we can, and just looking from afar. Again, for anybody who doubts, it's like I owe everything to Yuji and to Pat, to Nobu, to Ralph, to Joey, all those guys. I will do whatever. And actually, Yuji's never asked me to do much of anything. It's like, he'll just text me, hey, I'm in town. I'm gonna have, go, the girls are in town. You want to do obon dancing? And I go, of course. But yeah, Yuji has always been doing the work. And I have to say, he's again, he keeps his nose to the grindstone and actually does the work. So the work ethic is there. And that's what I try to emulate and follow.
Well, thanks, Tam.
So my friends are now getting mad at me because they both they all donated on Facebook apparently already.
Oh,
so thank you, Nick, Cha. Thank you, Philip. I know. We also need to. Tim Lunabus. Now it's your turn.
Tim Lunabus.
Yeah, we're all part of this really small community in Los Angeles.
And
so I forgot that you had 2 restaurants, Yuji.
Up in Seattle, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you doing in the snow, in the cold, in the freeze?
Oh, yeah, we had a big major leak in one of the restaurants because the gutter system kind of failed, and so we had a big pool of water, and so the water had to go somewhere, so it went into the restaurant, so we had to shut down for half a day. But it was a pretty significant amount of snow that we got, probably like 8 to 10 inches where we're at. So we had to, kind of push through that. But yeah, it was crazy. It wasn't like Snowmageddon 2 years ago when we got hammered, and I ended up actually on the roof of our second restaurant shoveling snow off of the roof, and that is not fun. I tell you, I hate snow now.
Wow.
Hate it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So for any of you who are going to visit the Seattle and the Linwood area in Washington State, go to Kona Kitchen. And there, yeah, everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. It's a real good, and you know, God bless Mom and Pop Mar, you know, for starting the whole restaurant business. And you know, it's again, it's a testament to, you know, Ange and Yuji for what they do, and it's that sense of aloha, you know, that Hawaii, you know.
Well, this is
courtesy connection.
Also, I love that you say the sense of aloha, because it is what the two of you have done throughout your whole careers. Like, because I don't like asking Tamlyn if she has the time, she will make the time for you, including things like this fundraiser for her to come out. And to ask, because I didn't know you, Yuji, so just happy to get you in the room and get a chance to talk to a hero of mine that I haven't. Because we forget certain movies that we think when we're in it, that the transformative nature of some of these things, and Karate Kid really was, like, if you talk to anybody within our generation that was there to see it when it first came out, it was a transformative thing for all of us. So, you know, thank you for being a part of it and taking care of stuff. Like, so if any of y'all knew that one of the stories that Tamlyn told about the Obon dance at the end, that's something that Tamlyn had to make on the spot. Wasn't that right?
No, not on the spot. Sorry. It's the dance that I'm teaching Daniel-san how Japanese dance odori is related to karate. Where I tossed the tomato at that dance was not made on the spot. It was made the night before, because I guess the people didn't think that there was the choreographer wasn't necessary to teach me a dance with karate elements, because they thought I was known. It's like, no. So me and my mom had to figure out and invent a dance that incorporated odori and karate to an Okinawan song that we do know. Right. So that was and so when we did Cobra Kai this season, I actually learned the dance to that Okinawan folk song, Tinsagu no Hanaya, and that's the 2 seconds that you see it, you know, in the episode. But I tried to bring authentic Okinawan culture to the episode this time around.
Yeah, that's what's awesome about Tamlyn. She comes in prepared to the hilt, and that's what I just really respect about her, because she was the one that made sure that all the Okinawan stuff was authentic, bringing in her own stuff from the play, and then just here you go, you want to use this for the set, and this. It was incredible. So hats off to her.
Wow, thank you.
Two things right now. So we just got a huge gift from Michelle McNiff, who donated $5,000 just now.
Woo!
So you have fans. The two of you have fans, and Michelle, I know she's a local DMV.
Michelle McNiff, thank you so much.
So Michelle, thank you.
Thank you,
Michelle. Shout out to you. Thank you for donating. We're well on our way to our 100,000 goal. We're now kind of way past 80,000, so we're getting there. So yeah, and we still got hours left in this. So thank you. The second part is, and this is for anyone who hasn't seen Cobra Kai, which I don't know why you haven't seen Cobra Kai.
I know it's been out 2 months now.
Yeah, for the third season, I loved how they brought in the little girl from Karate Kid 2. I love that.
And actually, yeah. So her name is Tracie Toguchi, and her name was her character's name was Yuna, and I loved how was it Lin who directed that up? I can't remember, Lin Oding or
Steven.
Was it Steven?
Yeah,
I can't remember, because we were overlapping some days, because was it Steven? Yeah. Steven and Tracie asked whether or not Tracie's character should speak with an Okinawan Japanese accent. And I think Tracie said no, because she would be international accent, especially if she's going to be working the Doyona aspect, she would be as Americanized. And I go, that's great. So it was, again, that kind of openness to the authenticity that's going on right now, that anybody who's born and raised in Okinawa would only have an Okinawan accent. That's not true. It's like, it's wherever you come from and however you're educated. So I witnessed that on the spot, that Steven and Tracie said, no, you don't. Yeah. I said, yeah, maybe, but I don't think you should or have to. So I thought that was a witnessing
two of you
artistry. Yeah.
Do you remember how hard it was that you had to fight tooth and nail for any of that stuff? You remember that, right? Like, it wasn't actually that long ago.
We're still fighting it now. I mean, because we're still, I'm noticing all day today, the Twitter shout outs to everybody. We didn't get none. No, all the accolades for Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon, how it authentically portrays a Southeast Asian character, culture, actors. And then I saw the tweet late last Friday night about a new show called Blazing Samurai, based on Blazing Saddles. And it stars Michael Cera, Samuel L. Jackson, and Ricky Gervais in the title characters or in the main characters. But Michelle Yeoh and George Takei are in it. But we can already assume that they're the minor characters. But that the place, so I tweeted, Blazing, it'll probably call Blazing Samurai, and they're already making fun of the place it's centered at, Kakamucho. It's supposed to be this mashup of East and West, and I'm already trying to be sly about it. It's like, I'm only me, and I can't I could raise my fist in protest. But again, if these people, the creators, don't hire Asian American writers, directors, creatives in the titled positions, it's like,
But this is what we're finding out, though, right? Is you can tell immediately when someone is open to all those things because they're confident in their craft of telling stories, right? They know how to tell the stories. So they have no people who are confident in the way they tell the stories have no problems hearing other people's opinions and incorporating to their storytelling. That's when the people who have lacked the courage, right, or isn't a good writer are the ones that are afraid and then start knocking down other people because they cannot do it. They don't know how to incorporate your voice. And that's when I know you're not a really good producer or writer. That's when I know. If you have to take other people down to defend your writing, it's because you're a terrible writer.
Or not allow them at the table. It's like, and then throw out the slogan that you're trying to be inclusive. You're presenting a diversity of voices, and it's like, yeah. I'm not supposed to. I promised myself I wouldn't swear on this,
and I'm the one that broke it.
But Yuji with his producing efforts in putting out The Paper Tigers had told me a few stories as to how it would be received, how it's going to be produced, and then how it's going to be marketed and distributed. It's like, it's getting better, but man, it's a slow train coming.
Yeah, it's tough. Being a producer and trying to fundraise and make, try and create this budget and do all that stuff. It was like fighting tooth and nail. And we did get an offer from a studio. And it was a pretty substantial amount of money. Memory serves, I think it was probably like $4 million to do the film and all that. So we're ecstatic to hear that. But then here's the caveat: you guys, we want to put in replace the Asian guys with these white characters. You okay with that? And we're thinking, what? Are you serious? So it's just still happens to this day.
And did they ever give you an answer as to why they wanted white characters?
Oh, it's just box office. It's a typical answer. Yeah, typical answer. So,
did they come back with star names or?
Yeah, they said, "Oh yeah, how about people like Bruce Willis or Wesley Snipes or this and that?" And we're thinking, are you serious? Really? The characters are based on Asian Americans, and you're going to try and change everything about them? It's not going to happen. So we stuck to our guns, and we said, screw you, and we moved forward and continued fundraising, and we were able to hit our goal, and we shot the film. It's coming out in May.
Yay.
Oh, finally? Oh, okay.
I think that's the target date is May. So yeah, we got picked up by Wellgo Entertainment, and they're the ones responsible for bringing over Ip Man and the Raid and all that stuff. So I think we're in good hands.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.
I need to do a shout out at this. So Robin and John Mellenbeck, Jennifer Knight, thank you for more donations. Apparently Nick Cha donated again. So thank you, Nick.
God.
And his response is, "I do as Chil tells me," which is very sweet.
You know what? I will donate. I will donate to Nick and Esther's pet food fund because they, absolutely. Are you kidding me? And all the work that Nick Cha has been doing on Spectrum One. Actually, Nick Cha Kim, would you go up to Seattle to do Kona Kitchen? Because I don't know if that's a Spectrum serviced area. Because again, UG
I'm not gonna get involved in that discussion right now because I'm just like,
I know.
But this is how our network works, right?
Yeah, Tamlyn is my agent, by the way, Jill.
I know. But this is how our network works, right? It's like we have faith and trust in each other because we haven't naturally had support from the larger community. And because of that, we know that the strength is from within. Mm-hmm. And so it's really weird so have you seen some of these younger generations who are like an indigenous friend of mine was talking about this. It's like arrows from behind. So it's like your own community saying some of the weirdest things to you. Mm-hmm. Have you had to deal with any of that at all? Yuji, when did you get any backlash from Asian men about your incredibly tough, sexy, but mean character on Karate Kid 2?
No, I think it was. It's funny. I didn't know how the community was going to receive my character, but it was really positive. I mean, I had little kids coming up to me and saying, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. And I said, I hope not. I don't want you to be a bad guy. But I think it was the fact that I was this strong character in a film that you don't see that during that time. So it was really cool. I just got flack from maybe some actors who were giving me grief, but it came from a point of jealousy as opposed to constructive. So right. I mean, you can tell the difference, and it was like, whatever, go away, get out of here.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But it was really positive. So I was fine.
And I think Yuji's heart really does. It does permeate the screen. I think people really do realize he's a good guy, and that Chosen was caught in a really bad situation, and he didn't want to get his hair wet in the rain. Colin. No, but it's true. It's like whenever I talk about, get the chance to talk about Karate Kid or Cobra Kai, everybody does, glom onto Chosen, the character. And it's because of Yuji's skill set. They really understand. They want to root for him, much like Ralph and Daniel-san, the character he inhabits in Daniel-san. And now we're seeing Billy too. He's the whole, redemptive arc that we're seeing with Johnny. And I think everybody can get a second chance. Everybody can learn to relearn and to evolve into a better person they all want to become, I think, at the end of the day.
What I appreciate about all of this too is that there isn't any black and white, that we all live in this spectrum of grays. Mm-hmm. And that we just need to follow our own path and hope that we make the right decisions as we go through. Because, there's none of us can really say that I've had a pure life or a pure good, I've done the right thing. I've made many mistakes in my life. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about Cobra Kai. It was a reminder of that. It's like, good can be bad. Bad can be good.
Context. It's context. It's like, how do we see this? Yes. It's the Rashomon kind of perspective. It's like, how do we view this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny too, because Tamlyn's tempo, her as she speaks, right? And then to see her and her acting skills, because the tempo that she has for Cobra Kai, I was like, whoa, okay, I forgot that. Like she's a really great actor, because just to see how she just slowed it down, like she's been in Okinawa all this time. Like it was really cool to watch. And I noticed that you were doing a little bit of the same thing, but in your intensity, you still managed to keep up the intensity. So how did the two of you spend some time in Okinawa? Like I know that like you had been in Okinawa before, but I mean before filming, did it help? Like what was the thing that helped you through that?
Well, from my perspective, I think working with pros like Tamlyn and Ralph, it made my job a lot easier. It's that trust factor. We're all this family, and we feel very comfortable with each other. And I'll never forget when we had that scene in the restaurant, and Tamlyn just had this innocence, this quality that she brought. That was such a dynamic difference between Chosen, and then Daniel's kind of stuck in the middle, and it was just such a beautiful. It was like a tennis match. And
it was pretty fun because I knew I had to ride the center, not to tip off the audiences. Is like, did I do this? Did I plan this? Did I strategize this? Yes, but it's literally with the intent to bring these two people whom I admire and respect into, to the table, to talk things, to work shit out. Oops, sorry, to work things out.
Oh, goodness. I'm so sorry.
For cursing.
This is partially my fault because I'm the one that started it. So I am sorry, all of you.
No, I apologize. To work things out. But again, what I have to say is that again, because Ralph has been doing this for 3 years, and to see again, it is. I don't think I told this to you. It's to see how people think that acting is just a bunch of fun. That you do the scene like this, and then when they say cut, just like, yeah, wasn't that great? Yeah, you were great at it. It's not like that. There's something to Yuji's focus, to Ralph's focus that helps me remember. It helped me remember literally on that spot that I learned everything that I do from these two. And it was just really, again, what Yuji was saying, really natural. It's like, focus on what your intent is. Let's just, let the crew reset the lights or the film or anything. It's like, and just look at each other and just make sure that the energy is going, in the directions that are all going to be shared. And it was, for me, it was like I was again shooting Karate Kid 2 again. It was like, and not knowing anything, just watching these two work at it. It was like, it was so, it was such a Back to the Future kind of gift in time. Yeah.
I love the episode with the two of you in there. It was what I felt too, was it was a really lovely homage to also Mr. Miyagi. There's his character, the sage, was fairly new to our American lexicon, this Asian sage. So now we have the trope, right? But he was really the first one where people were like, oh, you can listen to, and which is what we do in our community, right? That we go and we listen to our elders.
Mm-hmm.
To have this really lovely character and that we can listen to in our elders, and to give us power, give us a gift of just this teaching, was just really beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
The scene with her and with you and Ralph. Oh God, with the letters and all that stuff.
Oh my God.
So sweet. It was so sweet.
Oh my God.
I just love that stuff, and really hats off. It was just a wonderful job in creating that memory of him, and it was all there, and that's what I loved about that.
Yeah, well, thank you. And again, I think Yuji and I can also give thanks to Ralph Macchio, because he really, I think he stated it time and time again in all the press that's out there, but he's also told me that in person about doing Cobra Kai. When he called me actually in the summer of 2019 saying, do you want to do this? And I go, are you kidding? Of course. He said that he only agreed to do this only if the three creators, the three amigos, Josh, John, and Hayden, would keep intact the spirit of Miyagi and a Pat intact, because he's Karate Kid universe wouldn't exist without him.
Yeah.
And from what Yuji and I both know from our lessons, what we picked up from Pat throughout the years is something we try to keep true to. And it's, again, about doing the work and knowing that, the comedian circuit was something totally different for Pat Morita and his whole legacy of friends, that we knew that this is something we have to carry on. So it's, again, a testament to Pat and Ralph for doing what he's doing in Karate Kid, in Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I do appreciate that, because it does take somebody like that in the room, who was an ally, who was a true ally, who thinks about that.
Yeah. And to go off on another tangent, it's like, this spate of anti-Asian racism. It's like I'm hem and haw. It's like, dudes, are you guys going to address? It's like, but I'm not a part of season 4, so it's, again, and I don't know if this is going to end anytime soon. This is a continual discussion. But, if Mr. Miyagi, if Pat was still alive, it's like, would we be discussing this? And I go, yeah. Yeah. I think so. And it's about treating our elders, seeing them who they are, and seeing them as our grandparents, it's not just just the Asian elders, it's all our elders out there.
Well, yeah, I am down here with my family, with my parents. Because I'm afraid.
Yep.
I was supposed to get a place in Maryland and be closer to the theater, but once COVID hit and all this anti-Asian stuff started happening, it just was a no-brainer. I had to stay.
Yeah.
And not that they've had anything really upfront to them, but my mom's like barely 5 foot tall.
Yeah.
And my dad he can barely walk. So they are perfect targets for this. And so this is why it's important for us, for Adventure, to tell stories and talk about all these different stories that celebrate the incredible diversity of the United States. And to show that there's different cultures, there's different languages, different things that really make it is that thing that makes America, that makes the United States.
And you start out with the children. You start, that's one thing I'd like to, again, and pivot to Yuji, is that, his family lived in Seattle, but every summer there would be at least a period of 1, 2, 3 weeks that he would bring any combination of his 3 girls, and that we would do the Japanese Obon circuit, the Japanese festival circuit, because that's a part of their culture. That's a part of what they want to explore. And they came to, it came to be a part of their identity. It's not something that was thrust upon them. It was just something that Yuji and Angela shared in, their Japanese American culture. It's like their heritage. It's like, that's, and from what Mr. and Mrs. Marr, Angie's parents, had passed along to them about Chinese American culture. It's like, that's who they are. And I think that's what Adventure Theater can be all about, is like extracting what it means to be from a different culture, if you're knowledgeable enough about the culture that you come from, but if not, what it means to be an American. And that means to embrace all the cultures that make us America, because there is no true one. It's like we should have that joy, that flexibility to, pick and choose every single one of them.
Yeah, because I get into these creative discussions, and when we talk about different stories, I always get, well, is that really America? Question, right? Yeah. So what does that mean? And I go, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
So you're saying the only American story is a European-based story, and that's when they go, oh no, that's not what I mean. It's like, no, but that's what you mean.
No, that's what you meant.
And we forget that what's celebrated, why the United States grows in exponential way is because of the people that come to this country, not as and how those stories permeates through. Because we get The Godfather not because Italians are American. We get The Godfather because that story came from immigrants who came here, had their story that they needed to tell. We have Irish knee deep infused into our culture. We have an incredible amount of Jewish faith and Jewish artists who have come through, and we're finally starting to really listen to our Latin and Hispanic artists. And now we're getting this lovely infusion because of Asian artists, because Netflix and Amazon, these big companies who are like, oh my God, these Asian stories we get a lot of hits. They do a lot of numbers. It's like they're proving that diversity works. The big money companies.
And because there's so much commonality, it's like, I think that's the full realization. It's like, we really love our moms, we really love our dads, we really love our children, and we'll go through heaven and hell to make sure that we do the best by them or do the best for them. And that's what it basically comes down to.
The two of you are magic, because I'm getting reminders for a lot of things, which is I want to thank art enthusiast sponsors, Jeff Miller, Consulting Alliance, NFP Frankie, and Cyrus Benham, Elizabeth, and Thomas Cullen, Ken Dreyfus, Scott Royal, and Stephen Rice, Washington Parents, Euro Metro Cars, all of them for being a big sponsor for us. We are actually getting a lot of wonderful hits and donations. I think we're getting closer and closer. So you two are like the golden touch. But it's also, it helps that we're live and we're talking. So I just want to say, Yuji, thank you for coming out to us. We still have another 10 minutes, so don't go away. I want to open it up to anyone who wants to ask questions. So please ping, ask the question. I know Nick and Esther, you have questions for Tamlyn and Yuji. Come on, Philip. I know you want to ask one of your questions. I know you do.
Yuji, do you cut your own hair, or does Ange cut your hair? Because it looks great.
Oh no, somebody cuts it for me.
Oh really? So you're able to go out?
Yeah, I tried the Flowbee, but it didn't work.
Flowbee! Oh my god! Is that a 90s reference?
Yeah, probably.
but George Clooney apparently does his hair by Flowbee, doesn't he? Yeah. I mean, that's what he put out, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, but Asian hair can't do that. Come on, we gotta have it like styled up, and we can't.
Yeah, it grows different ways in the back, and it's
yeah, it looks great from the front, but you turn around and we're like jacked unless we have access. I'm there.
Yeah.
Because David Henry Wong, he's a Tony Award-winning playwright who he did a lovely thing with us when COVID started. He did a talking panel with other playwrights, local DMV playwrights, at Adventure Theater, and you could tell he hadn't had a haircut in like months. And so I had I had my own personal, that I was doing my razor thing, and I knew it looked jacked, but at least in front, from it was very business in the front and part in the back. Totally very business in the front, part in the back. So he was giving me so much crap in our panel about how good my hair was, and I finally turned. Once we were off camera, I showed him the back, and he's like, "Oh, okay. I see now. I won't do it either." I said, "Yeah, I'm telling you."
Yeah.
I think the whole COVID thing. I think everybody had like a mullet. Really long in the back.
Because you could cut in the front.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying there, man. Like, don't turn around. Don't turn around.
I know. Which I feel for the ladies, because it's a longer hair. Like you all had to do some really, really tough stuff, right? Or did you just literally, like you, Tamlyn, because you're gorgeous, you just get up in the morning, you spin your hair in the back, and then you walk away. Oh, I hate you.
Yeah,
I hate you. Literally, now all of America hates you for the same thing. It's like, really? You just,
Yeah, I haven't. But it's blue. It's blue right now because, again, I'm trying to be, I am vain because I try to, I can't go to my stylist. I still haven't gone. So I just bought the overtone blue and I just bluified all my white hair. So, yeah. I'm trying to be like, and actually, again, trying to spin it to, an anti-Asian racism incident that happened here in Brentwood. The white dude, called this Asian woman a stupid blue-haired Asian bitch. And I go, excuse me? I'm that stupid blue-haired Asian bitch. It was like, I was this close to
I heard about
driving to Brentwood on, I think it was on 26th and I think it's Olympic or something, or I can't remember. And just planting myself there. My love Daniel was saying, let's go down there. Let's just park and, just go to the same place. And I was like, just chill. So it was, anyway. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to deal with it in certain ways because
because I'm a big Korean, 6 foot fat Korean. Like no one's gonna mess with a tall fat Korean. That's just you're just not going to. So I rarely get the same stuff that all these other people get. And so Leon is popping in for a second. I don't know why his screen is up.
I'm right here.
He's here. I don't know why he's up. But because I don't see it, my head just explodes because it's like, how is it so easy for somebody to push over an 80-year-old man? I don't care what ethnicity he is. Why is that okay? How did you grow up that says pushing someone who is that old, who could be your grandfather, right? What kind of mental sickness do you have that makes that okay? And I just don't understand it. Like you're that's a combination of idiot, psychopath, and just what are you doing?
It's coward. Yeah. It's a cowardice because they know that they can get away with it against somebody who's elderly.
They won't do it to me. But
of course. If they tried to do it to either one of us, it wouldn't happen. They'd probably be on the ground, unconscious. That's the thing.
Your ripped abs, I'm sure, would have done the defending. My round tummy would have been like, yeah, go ahead, just slap that. That would.
Yeah. I think my abs are hidden by a 6-pack of beer or something. It's a pony cake.
There's actually Michelle Marie on Facebook. She has a 23-year-old daughter who is blessed to study abroad in the summer of 2019, and she's learning the language that she loves, which is anime. So that's why she's in Japan, and of course Japanese culture. And says she wanted to say thank you, Tamlyn. She's a big fan. She's a big Trekkie fan, and a big fan of yours. So she just did a shout out for you. So thank you, Michelle.
Michelle, thank you so very much.
Michelle McNish. That's actually our big donor. So it's just so.
That is Nick. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's the Michelle. So thank you, Michelle. So we'll get the two video. That'd be funny.
Yeah, Michelle, gambatte. Gambatte.
Again, please donate. Text adventure to 56651. That's adventure to 56651. We also go to all the links. I know that people have been our amazing folks that are in the background. So all this magic doesn't happen by itself. We have 3 stage managers who are putting in people back and forth. We're now having posts from different languages happening all of a sudden on Facebook, which I don't know how to read that. I don't have a translate. We can't translate on the system yet. But also, and we have an army of amazingly talented staff who are back there posting everything and making sure things are going on, that you can see the live links. So thanks all of our amazing team for making this happen. We still have a long way to go.
Where are you at? How much longer do you have?
Well, I have this counter. Let me see if I can pull it out. But I have this.
This is your 6th hour out of 30, correct?
I am towards the end of the 6th hour out of 30. So I have 24 hours. 24 hours to go. I have another day left. So yeah. Yeah. So I know that we have to prepare for our handoff. So for everyone who is watching, technology can't do a full 30 hours. None of the different digital formats allow more than 8. And so we are playing it safe and just doing 2-hour segments. So what's going to happen in about 2 or 3 minutes is that this feed will disappear and then just go to the next live because it'll pop up on either Facebook or YouTube. If you're on the ClickBid site, you just have to refresh your whatever thing you're on, whether it's Google or whatever, and just refresh, and it'll bring you to the new video. Again, we are live with Tamlyn and Yuji, who are of many, many things, but one of the most recent fame has been Cobra Kai, which is like you have to be crawled under a rock if you hadn't seen Cobra Kai. And you know what I find interesting is that there are generations who have handed off Karate Kid to their kids.
True.
Right, and this is what this has done, because we have those very those young martial artists who are there who's taking on the mantle. But did you get a chance to meet any of them? Because you weren't in the scenes with them, right?
Let's see.
I got to meet. You didn't meet Mary or Tanner.
I met them.
We met them, but we didn't work with them. Yeah.
I didn't see scenes. And Mary's really sweet. She came up to me and she introduced herself and really.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I think those were the only two that I got to meet. I'm in my memory, I think I might have bypassed Sholo, but I didn't get to speak and talk with him because
he was in the rehearsal for our fight stuff. So he was sitting in just watching, and I to somebody else, his tennis coach. I don't know if you know Yulin Chan, but he owns Phoenix Bakery in Chinatown, and Yulin is his tennis coach. And so, so I came up to Sholo. I says, "Hey, we have a mutual friend. Yulin Chan is your tennis coach." He goes, "Oh my God!" So it was kind of cool that we had this mutual friend, and really.
It's such a small world. So we're gonna close this out. So thank you. We can talk forever. Are you coming back at all? Are you gonna poke me in the middle of the night? Is that what's gonna happen, Tamlyn? Do you know?
I told you if you want to ping me, I'll pop back on, and we'll just
So I know
because again, this is a valiant effort, and and again, thank you, Huge, for joining in with me. But I told Chil, we could talk about baking. I don't care. It's like pass along recipes or whatever. Just in order to keep this going, because this is it's Herculean. It's like you took it upon your shoulders, your big, strong Korean American shoulders to pull this fundraiser through. So absolutely, ping me.
I will. Well, so Michael will definitely ping you. I know we're going to do a Mama Kong cook segment that you can actually watch Mama Kong cook. And Huge, thank you again so much for taking the time.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you, Huge.
Thanks to all the people that put this together. My God, it's such a it takes a village, right? Like anything. And I'm so glad that you have the support from the community and all that. And best of luck. And I'm sure you'll hit your goal.
Yep.
It's such a wonderful cause. I started in theater, so it's such a wonderful venue, and I'm so blessed to have started there because it gave me that foundation. So,
Yep. And everybody watch The Paper Tigers coming out in May.
Hey, look out for it. Paper Tiger May. All right, everybody. We're gonna cut out this out of this feed. So bye-bye.